All right, grasshoppers. Nobody's there yet, but I'm here, back on a regular schedule, all by my lonesome. It's been a long time at the beach today. I remember about a year ago, I think it was, we had a film crew come in from Vancouver doing a documentary. So they're back in again just to finish things off, talk about some business. So I was at the beach for a long time this morning. It was kind of cloudy, but it was a nice day to sit by the water, the sound of the water. Learn how healthy that is for you. Sun, not a lot of sun today. Not a lot of anything today. Nobody's coming in here on the show. Where is everybody? All right. So we've had some good, we actually recording some more Full Change podcasts. We did Christophe Oliwa yesterday. I don't know if you guys remember him. Tough guy, played for the Devils, Rangers. What else? I think he's Toronto briefly. He has some really interesting stories about him. He's from Poland, coming over here to play junior B hockey. I think he was like 18 or something like that. Didn't speak English at all. So that's your story. Christophe Oliwa. There's some people there. Where's everybody? There we go. Larry Melnick. Oh, goodness. Hi, Thomas. Yes, I really do. I miss Larry. So for anybody that's listening, Jill, how are you? Good morning to you, Jill Solomon. Just an update. I'm working diligently as Larry's travel agent to try to get him in here to New York for the Ranger Golf Tournament. He's going into Boston for the Boston Alumni Tournament. He and Ray Bork were reminiscing, and so we're going to try to get him in here. Now, again, remember, and we can only go on history. Again, I got him into the golf tournament, 2 years ago, I think it was. And he was working with Jackie and all of a sudden pulled the plug on it. Something else came up that was more important. So it's a little bit of a risky thing for me to help Larry because you never know. He's that kind of temperamental superstar that he may just change things. So that's a good idea. Yeah. Billy Smith. Come on, Rughead. Oh, that's terrible. I should go. Hold on here. Hold on. Let it go. Every second that goes by is history. It's true. It is history, but it's just that it plants that seed. When somebody acts a certain way, I'd like to hear what the fans have to say. Should I be going out of my way to help Larry after the way he kind of embarrassed me last time? I went to bat for him, said Larry's a good guy, he's reliable. So Jackie, the great Jackie DiPiazza, that is getting married soon in August 25th, I believe the date is. Then he kind of pulled the plug on her. So. Well, Deb, how are you doing? Good to see you again, you magical creature. Let's clarify something here. So it's not that it's tormenting me. It's just that, you work hard to build a reputation, build a brand, who you are. You're credible. You follow through with things that you say you're going to do. And then, so you go to bat for somebody, and then that person kind of goes against all your morals and ethics. So that's really the issue. It's not tormenting me. I'm fine. I sleep well at night. But it just Smith ditched the rug and went with the lady. Like, yes, I saw that. Yes. I wish Chico Mesh would do that too. That thing on his head, that's awful. Looks like some squirrel made that or something. We're going around the woods there. Chico Mesh. That's right. Chico Mesh. There's Dougie DeVito, the man. Good morning, leader and old buddy chum. Yes, Dougie DeVito is back. Okay, so Deb, who I respect a lot, says that give Larry one more chance. Well, if Deb says so, then that kind of puts it over the hurdle, and then I'll spend every waking moment trying to get Larry here for the tournament. And we'll just hold it back. It'll be a fun show to constantly be upgrading or updating. The status of Larry. Okay, is he invited? Is he not invited? Has the flight's been made? At what point we'll have an over and under, or what point does he pull the plug on it if he pulls it at all? We'll like to have a week out from the event, and make some bets on this, or put money into the Garden of Dreams. That our dance challenge really never went anywhere. I was disappointed by that, and maybe it was just like too much of a reach for. Larry obviously didn't do a dance video. That would have been something right there. That's something we should do. Have Larry Melnick do a dance like every week. He says, can't leave that alone. Okay, Deb. All right, so Deb's gonna see. That's what we need. That's what we need, Deb. Larry, you need to follow through too. Say, okay, I like that, Deb. Good job. Yeah. I kicked ass with the Danny. Yes, you did, Danny Erickson. Yes, you did. Yes. Okay. Okay. Let Mr. Larry be Mr. Larry. He's our friend. Well, yeah, but don't you think though, if you have a friend and like you care about your friends, right? You just don't let them think that okay, bad habits are acceptable. Like you care about them, you want them to be the best person possible. You want to get better every day. So if somebody does something that is not the right thing to be doing, you should let him know. And that's not yelling, not degrading him in any way. Just let him know, okay, Larry, if I'm going to go to bat for you, you can't just drop the ball here. So that's. Let me see here. Did Tom Smith share his famous guacamole recipe yet? Oh no, he did not. Nate, sorry about that. Tom's like that though, right? He's kind of like Larry in that way that he says he's going to do something. You don't really know if he's always going to do it or not, right? But that's just I haven't known Tom that long. That's just the impression. Great guy, great family man, great husband, father, all that kind of stuff. But you just don't. Is he really going to fall through? Like that's true. I forgot all about that. He was going to tell us his guacamole recipe, but we got nothing. Nothing out of it. Nothing. David, how are you doing there, you magical creature? David Cargliano. Where's the guy with name where's my chicken? Where's my chicken? Okay. But we have to accept bad and good. Absolutely. This is true. You can't say, okay, he's my friend, you need to change, do something different. But at the same time, if they're doing something that can be corrected to make them a better person, don't you think you're obligated to, as a friend, if you really care about them? Like Tom Smith, for example. He's promised to get in this recipe, the guacamole recipe, so that everybody can share, but he hasn't done it. Plenty of opportunities, hasn't done it. Do we just let that slide, or we say, well, you made a commitment to do this, and now you haven't done it? So that's my take on it. And again, not in a bad way, not saying Tom, like not criticizing his hair or anything like that, call him Peter Boyle or any of these things like we have in the past. We moved past that. We just accept the fact that he's got one of the strangest hairdos in history of mankind, and you accept it, right? You don't have a hard time over it. Just say, okay, this is the way your hair is. Who's your favorite goalie you played with? How about toughest against goalie? Oh, well, all the goalies were tough against me. So the favorite goalie I ever played with, it has to be, as a person, it has to be Glenn Hanlon. He was again, totally dedicated. I mean, it was game time. We talked about this. He did not talk on game day. He was totally into it. Great team player, funny guy. There's other great guys too. I mean, John Davidson was great to play with. I think did we have Wayne Thomas playing, or he was coaching at the time? So yeah, by far. So the toughest goalie to play against, like I said, anybody. God, we played against. I remember Patrick Waugh, that playoff series in 1986, where he was just getting going in his career. Man, that was good. He was a good goaltender. Billy Smith, come playoff time, you gotta give it to him that when it was playoff time, crunch time, he really had to have a big time. And he had some games against us where he wasn't good at all in the playoffs, but then he would come back. They knew his pattern. He would come back the next day, be totally focused and play great. So, okay, Brian Duffy. Tom, in your health program, do you participate in intermittent fasting? Yes, I do. We have discussed this quite a bit, Brian. You were probably sleeping because your brother was telling you to sleep during the show. Because Brendan is my personal sleep expert. So intermittent fasting, I really believe in. I as you know, I'm a little stubborn. So people had told me about intermittent fasting before. Actually, Mark Putnick really explained more to me, and I did more research on it. And it's so healthy for you. So again, intermittent fasting, mine is I stop eating at 8 at night, and I don't eat again until noon the next day. And again, you don't have to be exact with it. The idea is that after 12 hours of not eating, all the food is burned up in your body, and your body goes into the state of autophagy, like regenerating cells, burning stored fat. So it's very healthy for you. I really believe in it a lot. I don't do it every day. I try not to be random with it. I just don't want to wake up one day and say, well, I'm going to fast. I had tried to have a schedule so you eat enough the night before so that you can, you've got fuel in the body for working out. So let me see how. Your thoughts, Tom, on Coach Peter Laviolette. Sorry. Listen, obviously he's been in a lot of places. He's won a Stanley Cup. He gets hired a lot, but he gets fired a lot too. But I've said that before, that I realized, well, that's the National Hockey League now. Coaches don't stay in the same place very long. There's Raritan. I'm trying to think who's been in one place. I mean, it was Barry Trotz was with Nashville for a long period of time. But it's, and again, it's not the coach's fault. These players today, I would say, are much more intelligent than we were, much more thoughtful. And that's a good thing. The bad thing is they do think more, so they just don't listen to somebody telling them what to do all the time. They think for themselves, which is not always a good thing for a hockey player. And when it gets sometimes the coach just loses the room. It's not that the players don't like him. The voice just gets old. And again, after the playoff performance, I mean, they had 2 great seasons with Gerard Gallant. It was 107 points, 102 points, something like that. So, for them to have the playoffs that they had this year, was surely there's something wrong. And there's a lot of talk that there was a disagreement between Drury, the general manager, and Gallant. So changes made. And again, so they could go win the Stanley Cup this year, but they could have won the Cup somebody else too. It's again, I do think the coaches get way too much of the blame when they lose, and they get way too much of the credit when they win. They are a part of it. There's no question, but players have to go play. Obviously you have to have a sound system, but it's how the players perform in that system, right? They, how dedicated and disciplined are they on the ice? They're taking bad penalties. All the athletes now that play in the National Hockey, they're all in great shape, great athletes. It's just getting everybody in the right spot. Again, what's going to be one of the keys for the Rangers is that kid line with, Hedl, Lafreniere, and I can't remember his last name. But that kid line has to get going. Not just, I mean, they have to see some kind of a trajectory upward that they're going to be star players. I mean, that's what, that was all the plan, I think. Not just them. It isn't just always on them. But those guys are key to the franchise now and in the future. Yeah. Capo. Thank you, Joe. We'll see. Again, there's a window here, right? Because, Kreider isn't going to play forever. They've got probably, you could argue, the best goaltender in the National Hockey League. So they can't have him there and not have the best out of the team. Doesn't mean they have to win the Cup every year, but they have to be contenders. You can't get beat out in the first round when you've got goaltending like that. So, okay, Susan Brooks is here. She's in the house. Gallant didn't seem to make in-game adjustments and wouldn't give. Well, yeah. But here's the thing. That's Gerard Gallant's coaching style. It always has been since he started coaching. So they knew that coming in, that this is he lets the players figure it out. And as far as the ice time for Kakko and Lafreniere, I mean, when you've got the top 6 forwards that they had this year, especially after going out and getting Tarasenko and Kane, and again, Kane being hurt really that put the kibosh on that deal, so that didn't work out well. But again, you don't know if you're going to have Kane next year. Well, obviously not now. And Tarasenko, the same thing. So you can't go get those players and then not play them. And then you've already got Zibanejad and Kreider, playing so well. And it was a tough spot. And again, I've said this before. Obviously, they knew that Kane in particular was hurt. You weren't going to get Kane from 5 years ago. But how do you not get it, right? He goes out publicly saying that he wants to be with the Rangers. Remember his comments even after they got Tarasenko, saying how much he was disappointed because he wanted to be with the Rangers. And then you have to go get him, right? If you don't get him and then you get beat out in the first round, everybody, including your owner, is looking at you like, you had a chance at Kane. It's a Hall of Famer, and you didn't go get him. So it was a tough one for Drury in that case. But yeah, well, I just think, again, that's the way. I think that group, when they were going, that top power play unit, and he was doing it before. He was keeping them out there for a minute and a half, and they were really. And again, when they were going, they seemed like they really moved the puck. I hear you, Susan. I don't think you're wrong, but again, that's the way he coached before, and had success doing it too. So, so Kane is washed up. Well, again, he's hurt, and he's a proud man. So we'll see. Does he get surgery or whatever and then come back and play? I don't think you could really say he isn't what he was before. There's no question, but I don't think he's washed up. I still think there's an all-star player there. Again, he's got to get healed. William Tommy, yeah, big leg. Congratulations on my good friend. Oh, you name dropper. You tell it, but like your best friends. I'm going to call him up and say how good friends you guys are. To be a Hall of Famer. About time. Yeah, he had a good career, right? Yeah, Buffalo, Pittsburgh. I can't remember if he played someplace else. William and Otis, like they're like best friends. Tommy, who else are your best friends with? There was somebody else. Can't remember who it was. So Timmy Peel. I remember I asked Timmy Peel on the show, like, do you know William Conradiniak? And he goes, well, who's that? So I don't know. That's just my take on it. But so we had new hiring for a coach, Peter Laviolette here at the New York Rangers. Oh, that's right. He's good buddies with Paul Coffey too. Yeah. Well, I think they need a Tkachuk type player, grit scoring. Well, everybody needs. I know there's Connor McDavid out there, always, Austin Matthews and everybody. But as far as being an impact player, especially in the playoffs, to your point here, Anthony, man, Tkachuk's got to be at the top of that list. I mean, the score, he played hurt, the physical game, the intimidation. So everybody would want. It's interesting. They just don't seem to. There's so much of an emphasis on skill now, that will portion of it. And again, that's one thing that really hasn't changed in the game of hockey. The team with the most will, you got to have enough skill, but the team with the most will is the team that wins the Stanley Cup. That you look back at the Islanders playing against them, and you think, oh, man, we were as good as them. We could have made it. They knew how to win. I mean, the guys like the Nystroms, the Gillies, even like, some of the Wayne Merrick, Bob Bourne, who weren't like the star guys. It's just they filled the role. They know what the coach expected from them. So, yes. Thoughts on Pekka as an assistant from Mr. Danny Erickson? You know what? I liked him as a player. He's a gritty guy. I don't know. I've never really seen him coach how his teams play. But it's interesting that I can't. Where was he? He was someplace else or in the minors or something coaching. But again, I think he's one of those guys. He's got a real presence. I remember seeing him. That's part of it. James Patrick talked a lot about it before. Talked about Lindy Ruff and his presence. That's part of the sales pitch with the coach to the players. Like, you're selling to the players that I know what I'm talking about. I'm totally confident what I'm talking about. If you do what I tell you to do, we'll win as a team, and you'll be successful as individuals, right? And that's, I talk about Herb Brooks all the time. First, so we had that my rookie year. We had a good team. They fired Freddie Shero halfway through the year. Then we went on a long run in the playoffs. And usually you don't make a whole lot of changes. You go to semifinals. But we, now knew we were getting a new coach. As I found out later, they wanted Craig Patrick to continue coaching. He didn't want to do that. His plan was to hire Herbie. He did that. And when Herb walked in for the first meeting, I know he sold me, and I've talked to other guys that okay. We got rid of, we had a big, tough team, Eddie Hospital, Chris Katsopoulos, and now we had a smaller team, faster, more Herb style of team. The Robbie McClanahan's, Mark Pavlich, Rutsalainen. So we changed to it. But I remember starting the season believing, okay, Herb's in charge. He comes in for that meeting. He knows what he's doing. He's totally confident in himself. He's maybe he was nervous underneath, but he didn't show us. And he was, like I said, he was the guy. So yeah. And again, I say that because my recollection of Pekka as a player was more the presence he had. In interviews where he played on the ice. And again, that's a big thing, to get the players to believe in the coach, right? Your message, listen, hockey is hockey. Really, you can change a few things here and there, but hockey is hockey. So it's, that's right. Pekka was in, thanks, Brian. Pekka was in Springfield in the AHL. I read that. That's very funny here. Very funny here. Danny fired Shero because he talked to me. He never talked. I remember when I was a rookie, well, obviously because he forgot. I thank him. He got me into the National Hockey League, so I owe him a lot. I've told his son Ratio that too. But I remember he didn't talk on the bench. He was weird. He came by one time on the bench. It was a few times actually. He put his hand on my back, and he just stood there for a few minutes with his hand on my back, and I'm like he's going to yank me out off the bench and send me. But I think in his book, I think I'm correct in saying this. He said that he felt he was really transferring the energy to the players. And really what it did for me as a young player, it more calmed me down. Like maybe he sensed that I was running around out there, and it just calmed me down. And I remember it worked too. At first when he did it, a little leery, like, why is he doing this? What have I done wrong, or what's going to happen now? But yeah, he really, he's a smart, listen to the guys in Philly talk about him. They obviously they won cups with him. You know, he let the guys. Again, that's the thing. Gallant was like that too. Listen, if you're playing hard, but you make mistakes, you're still going to get on the ice. I mean, you can't continually make the same mistake over and over. But that was the big thing he did there in Vegas when they got started, because they got these guys now that weren't used to being, top line players. I mean, most of those guys were, the bottom line players. So now all of a sudden he needed to get them to perform, like big time goal scorers. So he made sure that they knew, listen, okay, if you're going out there giving an effort, you've got to be able to try to make moves and do things. And if you do that, you'll continue to go on the ice. So, Ron Jameson, how you doing, brother? Good to see you. I don't think Espo was crazy about Shiro. Yeah. Phil's that colorful personality, right? You're definitely going to know how he feels about things. That was Phil from day one to the end. He just, when he played. I told the story before, but I'll never forget. We were in the locker room. So my rookie year, I was sitting right beside Anders Hedberg, and Phil was on the other side of the room in the Ranger locker room. And in between first and second period, and Anders' wife was giving birth, so Anders was getting undressed to go to the hospital. And that's a dedicated father thing to do, putting his family first, and that's you have to admire that. But Phil was old school, and he didn't. I think he more was the attitude like, "What's the difference going to make whether you're there or not? The baby's coming out no matter what." And he starts ripping into Anders in the locker room, and it was not. And I'm sitting there going, "Oh my God!" I am sitting there looking right at Phil, and then Anders is beside me, and Anders he didn't know what to say, didn't say anything. He just continued to get undressed, and Phil ripped into him. You're a rookie player, that kind of stuff happens in the locker room. Oh my God, this is Phil Esposito. He's a Hall of Famer. You watch him play in the 72 Canada series, and now he's yelling at one of our own teammates. And Anders is a star player himself, playing in Winnipeg with Bobby Hull and all that kind of stuff. So that was pretty interesting. But yeah, with Phil, good and bad. Phil was going to tell you exactly. There's also the confrontation I had with him in training camp, my first training camp, and knocked him on his rear end, and he was not too happy. The building went quiet, and Phil was giving it to me, and that was one of those moments too. You're like, "Oh my God, what did I do?" But then he came over to me in the locker room, and he still wasn't happy, but he told me how much he admired what I did. Showed how much I want to make the team. But Phil's a great guy. Oh man, he leads with his heart too. We had him on the show with Gresh, and he asked me before the show, could we swear? I said, well, you can drop a couple F-bombs, film it. I tried to make him realize how many times he was using the F-bomb. And I think I said to him, like, Phil, do you realize you're setting a record for using the F-bomb? Didn't change a thing. In fact, I can't remember what somebody was now keeping track of the F-bombs. I think they missed the first 51, but he got up to like over 100 or something that Phil was. That was an unfortunate one too. Hedberg scored 50 goals in 50 games with Winnipeg and Dodge. Yes. Yeah. Anders Hedberg's a great player. Man, he really prospered when Herb came in too, and he played with Mark Pavley's a lot. The weaving in and out. That was Anders' kind of game. Real gentleman too, like off the ice. Real fun guy. He's a mushroom. I went to the store the other day. This little grocery. It's they call it the Farms in Port Chester, New York, and they had mushrooms there. And the mushrooms the brand name was Fungi, Fungi, Fungi. You guys get that or no? Fungus. I thought that was pretty funny. So I'm standing there laughing all by myself in the store. A really nice couple around the place too. They're, I think they're Chinese, and I don't know why I find this so unique. But in Port Chester is a large Hispanic population, and so they've learned to speak Spanish. So you get the two Chinese, the husband and wife, speaking. I don't know why speaking Spanish. I don't know why. I'm over it now, but when I first saw it, I just thought that's unique, right? Because you think, okay, either they're Chinese, so they're going to speak Mandarin or English. All of a sudden, smart move because all the people that are coming in there are Spanish speaking. So, fun guy. I thought that was pretty creative, right? Fun guy. Yeah, that's my sense of humor. I don't know. What else is going on in the world? Oh, how about the submarine, the Titanic? How would you like to be in that submarine? So you're down on the ocean floor. You're in the submarine. I guess it lost power or whatever, but it still had oxygen. Laidlaw speaks incoherent. Oh, Danny, I thought we were getting along so well today. And then you start with this. Danny, I like your wife better than you. She likes me down too, doesn't she? Yeah. Your children like me. Your wife likes me. Now maybe that's why you're ripping into me too, because your family likes me so much now. Where's Tracy? We've lost her. That was my fault because we went off schedule with podcasts and everything. So Laidlaw speaks incoherent. Oh, so yeah, breaking news. That would be the most. Oh yeah, totally. I'm with you, Dev, on this one. That would be worse than trapped underwater. Oh, imagine that feeling. Like, what are you going to do? You don't know when you're going to like die. I guess it's awful to say it this way, but makes you suffocate. I guess you just kind of fall asleep. So I guess it wouldn't be like a painful death, but the time leading up to it, where you don't know whether you're going to survive or not. Oh man. Yeah. See, I knew it. I knew it. So this is why Danny is upset, because his family loves me. So he feels betrayed, belittled. I don't know, whatever it is. Listen, if you want to hug Danny, maybe we'll meet up. I'll give you a hug. Get you over this. But yeah. Oh man. You know what? Even the families, you feel terrible, right? Going through that. It's not like it's just dragging on and on. Apparently, there's noises still. From last I heard, there's still noises coming from it. So there's hope that they get them. Yes. Oh, the darkness and everything. There was a maiden voyage touring. I didn't know that. Oh wow. Wow. Oh, that's a terrible story. That's the poor families. Yeah. Wally, what's happening, Wally Thacker? Why is Larry always See, exactly. I've done so much for him. Like he's my best friend. I would, I get in a submarine for him, go down to the bottom of the ocean floor just for Larry Melnick. But again, it's like the expectations of me taking care of him all the time, doing all this stuff for him. Frankly, it's a little overwhelming. I mean, that's why I lost my hair ever since I met Larry. Yeah, we got to be buddies right away. I think he came to me when we first got traded here. He said, Tommy, everybody tells me I should talk to you, figure out what place you would go to have a beer. So I think it might have been his first words to me. Yeah. Oh yes. Oh, so this is okay. I'm totally going to come clean. We cooked. So my boys were over for Father's Day. Of course, Shane brought 2 big bottles of vodka and Cody brought a big bottle of tequila. I filmed cooking the show, but we were having so much fun. I forgot the last couple of steps and to film the finished product. We had great lamb chops I did on the grill. I made a chickpea pasta salad with a little pepperoni, mozzarella, tomato, onion, balsamic vinegar on there, some garlic bread, some baby potatoes with that. But we had some cocktails, and it was just my 2 sons and I. We were having a blast. Maverick was over, my grandson, the furry grandson, and we just plain forgot. It's later on I just realized, man, I forgot to film. We'd already ate it all anyway, so we could film. So I will do that one again. That was really good. I really got into lamb chops. I did it in the air fryer when I first got them, and didn't want to grill, get the high heat, get the charred on the outside, like about 130, so it's a little pink. It was still pink inside. Oh my goodness, they're good. They're not as good left over, but they're not bad left over. But when you first cook them, oh my god, the chickpea pasta salad was good. So my sons, like that, as you may know, I'm a little bit cocky with my cooking and overconfident. Maybe we use that word. And so that for them to compliment me on my cooking, it's like it's painful for them to do it, but they were like, "Wow, this is unbelievable." So let me see here. Let me see. There's a pair of worn skinny jeans available on eBay that were worn by Larry Melnick. Oh, would you ever like want to buy clothes that were worn because they were worn by some famous person? Would that? I guess there's people that do that, right? What was I hearing the other day that somebody was selling something, some actress or something had something for sale? Yeah, it was some famous. Oh no, it was Patrick Mahomes' wife was selling her like a used dress or something she had on. First of all, he's making like $40 million a year. Why is she selling this stuff on eBay or whatever it was? I was listening to Boomer, my buddy Boomer Esiason, not Craig Carton. He's Gio. Greg Giannotti, that's what his last name is. Funny guys. I really get a kick out of it. I try to watch them every day. Don't mention my name enough, as they should do that, but that's an issue. Again, like at the start of the show, I was telling everybody we did some more Full Change podcast. We did Christoph Oliwa yesterday. Very interesting guy. I really didn't know him. Actually, he didn't remember, but I met him on a plane one time. And we chatted for a little bit. He had that reputation to be just a nutcase, but a very intelligent guy. He told us how he came over from Poland, didn't speak English at all, played junior B hockey in Welland, and was drafted in the 3rd round out of junior B hockey, which is rare. See, I've seen game worn Tom Laidlaw jerseys. That's a good point. Yeah, athletes, other stuff. Yeah. But like, Patrick Holmes' wife. Okay, 2 parts of that story. Why is she selling stuff on eBay? I guess maybe it's for charity or something like that. Could just donate the money, but and then would you want to buy her dress? I mean, what if she sweat in it or something like that? What if she had like bad body odor? The dress smelled like her. I guess she's. Is there something weird about people don't like her for the way they were talking? There's something weird about her and Patrick Holmes' brother, apparently. Maybe it's a bad body odor. Maybe that's the way we figured it out. Yeah, she's got BO. How's everybody's pooping doing? It's doing well. I've got the diet going, got the fiber going. There's flies out of there. Not the flies. No flies aren't flying in there, but my sons are funny. I guess they think I'm not clean enough around the house, so they were doing the dishes and everything after we ate. And do you clean the underside? Let me ask this question. So, especially if you're living by yourself. So I don't use the dishwasher because by the time you fill up the dishwasher, all your dishes are in there. Isn't any dishes left? So do you wash the underside of the plate whether you do it by hand? Do you wash the underside of the plate as well as obviously the top side because that's where the food is? But I guess I don't all the time. And they were looking at there's some dirt on it, so they were like, "You've got to wash underneath there too." My 2 sons are lecturing me. Deb, good to hear. Good to hear. That's all controllable stuff, right? I mean, the food you put in controls your poopage, right? That the aroma. You got listen. There's just no way about it. If you're eating good food, it's going to smell. That's just it. Holy washed. Only runs. Oh yeah, he does. What did he call that? That's awful. He look him up on he's on Instagram too. Seems like he's got a really the way it sounded. I mean, he worked his way into the National Hockey. He had not really fought until he got to the NHL, is what he said. And I think Robbie Ftorek, who I played with, a good friend of mine, total respect for him. Really, I think he get called up to Toronto. Robbie was coaching in Toronto, or I can't remember what the deal was. And he get called up. And Robbie took his sticks away from him and said, "Listen, go use Joe Thornton's sticks because you're not going to use your stick anyways. That's not why you're here." So, Ole Shred. Yeah, that's his that's his camp that he's got going. His hockey. Shred is part of it. Yeah, he's in shape too. I hate to admit it, but he might be in better shape than I am. But my friend Michelle won the jersey off the back of Michael Roosevelt back in the day. She said the smell it was pungent and she. Oh, totally. I'll tell you, you walk in, it's not as bad now because the equipment's better, but the old, like the leather equipment and everything, that you walk into a locker room, the smell, you just get used to it after a while, so you don't even notice it's there. But, years later, like you go back in like when I was an agent or something, I went in the locker room, like, usually the trainers get the fans going, try to blow the smell out of there, but that's a nasty smell. Nasty. Yeah, so this is a good show here today because we've solved an issue that a lot of people didn't know was going on. So we decided, and we've learned, in my mind anyways, that Patrick Mahomes' wife has bad body odor. That's why she's selling her clothes. So what? I guess it's one of those deals like when she can only wear it once, and the body odor is so bad, so she has to sell the clothes. And times are tough there in the Mahomes family. He's such a good guy too. He seems like, anyways. Yeah. Oh, that voice. Maybe that's why. Maybe. He was limited, like how many women he could get because the way he talks. So he had to get a woman with bad body odor. Just saying. I don't know. Again, I don't know this for a fact. It's just I'm deducing here. Deducing. What else is going on? I had some good workouts lately. So I got these young kids that come in. The one guy's a trainer at my gym. So again, the gym doesn't open till 6. I get there at 4:30. So they now realize I get there early, so they're coming in. My little buddies. One guy's Carlos. He's a boxer, tiny little guy. He's funny too. So we got myself as a Canadian. Carlos is from Ecuador. We got an Italian guy. We got Pakistanis and Indian. And Carlos, we're all buddies, so it's all guys in the gym. He's got a little bit of racist jokes going on. It's not right, but it's all controlled. It's just, and everybody understands it's just joking around. So it's quite a crew. There's some good guys, and then we got one guy, my buddy Sal, in there now. He likes to. He doesn't like working out that much. He likes to sit around and have his cocktails. But these guys are all buddies. So I met him. He had been in a couple of weeks. So when he gets back in, we give him our time. Let me see. How did the Met Center in our stores compare to other arenas? Toughest place. Met Center was good. I like playing there. I played college hockey in Northern Michigan, which is it's the Midwest. So I kind of like that. That mentality. Toughest arena to play in. Boston Garden was tough. I mean, they had a big, tough physical teams. The locker room, there were rats running around in the locker room. It's that old tiled floor. And then you get out in the game, the rink's just a tiny ice. So I think it was 15 feet shorter. So a regular rink's 200 by 85. Theirs was, I think I got 185 by 85. So that was tough on them. And again, it's just like, their team was it was an intimidating team, right? So it's, yeah, but it made you play harder because you knew, well, I better be ready tonight or else I'm in trouble. So, do you think Verbeek and Mogilny make the Hall of Fame nation? Mogilny, and particularly, it's kind of, it's one of those stories. He's like, man, his numbers and the way he played, I think he should be in the Hall of Fame. But again, part of it is it's not like a popularity contest, but you have to have somebody going to bat for you. Glenn Anderson took a long time. He won 6 Stanley Cups, played a big role in those Stanley Cups too. So, and then finally, I can't remember how it went down. Did Glenn say they're getting involved or something? And you'd like to hear what goes on in those meetings. The sales pitch that somebody has to make for a player to get him in. But I don't know about Verbeek. Man, hard guy to play against, tiny little guy. But I don't know if he's right on that border. Like, do you call him a Hall of Famer? That's really not how I recall him. But again, I don't want to say he wasn't a good player. I mean, he's a very good player. But yes, the draft, Anthony, is coming up soon. That'll be interesting. Brings you back. Kind of reminds me of being in the agent business because the draft's a huge day for agents, right? I mean, I remember the first time I've told the story. First time I went to the draft, I didn't have any players, so they go by. If you have like a first round pick, a guy that's supposed to be a first round pick, they put you right down basically on the floor almost. And then if they go all the way back up, you go to any guys, you're up in the rafters. And man, that drove me because I just finished playing the National Hockey League. All of a sudden, I was sitting up in the rafters at the draft, and I was like, this will never happen again. So it was a good thing to do. So it made me go harder. And then I remember the first player I had as a first round pick was Ryan Smith, drafted by Edmonton. And so that was pretty exciting. And then when I was working with IMG, Mike Barnett, a great guy, had Brian Berard as first overall pick in the draft. And Mike realized how much it meant as an agent, so he was like, good job, Tom. It's really not you do it. And it's the player that does it, but you're representing him. I was actually almost the first 2 picks in the draft that year. Wade Redden had told me that he was going to go with me. His general manager, Brandon at the time, Kelly McCrimmon, was good friends with Donnie Meehan, another agent, said, no, you're going to this other agent. And so I didn't get him. So that was still cool to do that. So, yeah, you know what? No air conditioning yet. I haven't really made that determination whether I'll go with no air conditioning this year. Get kind of lonely. It was a good exercise to do. It was a good challenge, so that you could do that. Good mental strengthening challenge. So I get usually about 3 miles in the morning, and then I do get times like I try to get in the habit of doing a second walk in the afternoon. So you get a total of, 6 or 7 miles. Sometimes it does where, the knees get banged up a little bit and all that kind of stuff. So sometimes you have to back off a little bit. That's the one thing I hate to admit, but as you do get a little, listen, you don't have to lose your conditioning level as you get older. You work harder, smarter, but you do have to be aware of, again, if you're doing a whole bunch of leg stuff, the knees, from playing all the time, your knees get banged up. So, yes, Jilly Solomon. Why everybody calls you Jilly? Never call you Jilly Solomon. The weather has been very mild and unusual. Yeah, it has been mild here. Yeah, even today, it's almost, it was like low 70s, I think. Yeah. Danny, I don't know what it is. I don't know why, but it's just you have to hold the community hostage to get laid in the Hall of Fame. Now let's be aware. I have 2 Hall of Fames already. All right. So let's be clear on that. The Brampton Hall of Fame and the North. I think it's the Northern Michigan University Hall of Fame. Yeah, I don't think it's UP Hall of Fame. Northern Michigan University Hall of Fame. So yeah, we'll see about that. Yeah. 2. That's right. I didn't get up to Marquette for the induction ceremony but I was in Brampton for the. That was interesting too. So it was growing up someplace and then leaving. Left to college like at 17, 18 years old, and then coming back into the Hall of Fame. That was pretty cool. And when I was there, it was like all farm boys and everything. We were with the baseball caps and nothing wrong with this all. But the mayor of the town was there at the induction ceremony, and he was Pakistani, so he's got the robe on it, whatever they call that. I apologize for not knowing the name of that, but so he comes walking out. It was shocking, right? Because when you leave a place, that's your memories or things like that. Everybody dresses with the cowboy hat, or not cowboy hat, baseball cap, and then to come back and he's a fantastic guy. He was great. We hung around for a little bit after him. All right, Joe. From now on, then we're gonna call you Jilly, okay? Jilly Solomon. I like that. I like to make up names. So I got my boys in the gym. They all get nicknames too. So Carlos, the courageous Carlos, he's a little boxer, like 125-pound weight class, whatever it is. Jacob, the Justifier, Amin, the Animal, and who else we have? Greg, the Great One. He's the Italian guy, and Sal. He's Mr. No Show. Doesn't show up anymore. So they're actually funny guys. I didn't realize I'd been in the gym by myself for couple of years now, like all during the pandemic and everything. So now these guys start coming in. It actually is better. It's a big day for some of those other guys, especially if they're fun guys and they're really working out hard. Just it's the whole atmosphere thing. So I have the country music on though, which they don't when they get control of it, heavy metal and stuff like that. So I said they can change the music. I think they're a little afraid of me, so they let me put the music on that I want. So. What do they call me? Was it Terrifying Tom? I think that's why they came up. That's why afraid of me or something. I guess I get this thing. I don't know where. I think I've told you the story when I went on Survivor. They went to casting, and at the end of the week, they had like an exit interview, and that's what the guys asked me. They said, "Would you try to intimidate everybody?" No, nice guy. But part of it is like stuff like I broke both my wrists, so they don't bend backwards always. So I can't when I do push-ups, I can't do it on my palms. I have to do it on my knuckles, and I'm not doing it to try to be tough. It's just that's the only way I can do it. They had us do this crawl where your butt's up in the air and you're crawling. And it was on a cement floor, and I did it on my knuckles. And these young kids are keeping score or whatever they're doing. You could tell they're watching, and then they go, "First time we've seen that happen." So, funny stuff. Let me see here. Oh, Danny. The last line. The only Hall of Fame is the Grunklestown Hall of Fame. Population Grunklestown. Danny's on a roll. He's butter today. He's on a roll. He's butter. They call him old bald bastard. Well, no, not old. No, nobody is allowed to call me old. It does not happen. I was on the train the other day out of the city, and it's really the conductor is this great guy, great personality, whatever. I ended up being a hockey fan, so we were chatting away, and I think he asked me, he said, "How old are you?" I'm 65. He's a trainer and everything, so he wants to hang out now. What was it? Lamar, funny guy, good guy, really good guy, great personality. They're nice to everybody, loud, a whole bit. Yeah, good. All right, everybody. Okay, so again, we're going to try to get in a habit. No, we are going to get in the habit of doing this every Thursday at 10 o'clock. Get Tracy back on. I don't know, maybe she's sulking because we didn't do a show there for a while, so she couldn't reprimand me like she had done. So we'll make sure she knows that the show is on, and so I can be punished some more. Phil Degg. Have we had you on the show here? I don't know if we have before. Thoughts on the Lavalette hire? Need new pods are great. Next level stuff. Oh, thank you. Yes, we're very happy with the Full Change podcast. So if everybody gets a chance, please listen to them and subscribe, and leave a comment too. We're trying to get it up as high as possible in the rankings. I think we're in like the 30s or 40s over like thousands of hockey podcasts out there. So, great guests. We have Bruce McNall that used to own the Kings on recently. It's not out yet. I don't believe it is. He'd gone to jail for about 5.5 years for bank fraud, I think it was. But Great guy. He was fantastic, and he takes total blame for it. I was going to say credit, but like when I talked to him when he got out of prison, he didn't make excuses. Didn't try to blame everybody else. Just said, "Listen, I did it, Tom. I got caught up in the whole thing." And let me see. Yeah, she's on vacation. Tracy says, "Yeah, I guess you can't take a computer." Oh, McDonald was out. Thanks, Deb, for telling me that. Deb's on top of things more than I am. Man. You know what? We tried to get Jim Dowd. And we didn't. I think we get a lot of this. Hockey players we're notorious and stuff. So we'll say we're going to do it, and with good intentions to do it. Then you get other things you run around. We're going to get Donnie Murdoch on. He's assured us he's going to do it. He's been busy. He had COVID recently. He's got a great story. We don't want to dwell on the past for people. Some guys are more open about drugs or alcohol use or things they went through. Bobby Nystrom said he's going to do it as well. We had his son on, Eric Nystrom. It was interesting talking to him about what it was like to be a son of a former NHL player, especially a guy that had a really good career like Bob Nystrom did too, right? It wasn't just a journeyman player winning all the cups, big goals he scored, the fights and everything. So we're going to get Bob Nystrom on. He's assured us he'll come on. We've done, I think, over 50 podcasts now. And I've mentioned this a few times. Some really interesting stories too, guys about attempted suicides and things they've been through and battling back. A lot of good stories about guys that are battling back from things and really helping other people too. So, Doc, former teammate, awesome dude in Indy. Oh, did you play in Indy? Good job, Phil. And I'm wondering, is that your full last name, or are you like? I wondered, like with Bobby Orr, like he'll have a partial last name, Bobby O, right? Just Bobby O. You don't use the whole name. Then you wouldn't know who he was. You wouldn't know if it's Bobby or not. So Phil does that. Maybe it's Phil Dig. Probably an Italian name, I'm going to say. It starts with a Dig. Thank you, Phil. Thank you very much. I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, I'm very happy with the podcast we're going. Tom Smith has become a good friend of mine. He's a producer. He chimes in and gives me a hard time once in a while. He's very good at getting the guests on. So he's going well. I'm very happy with it, yes. Get all Sanders. That'd be all Sanders would be fantastic. Yeah. Yep. Be a good idea. Good idea, Anthony. See, Anthony, you're on top of things. Like with Danny Erickson, like he's concentrating on just ripping into me, whereas you're creative. You're using your mind. Phil, yep, I knew it. Phil, I knew it. Degatano. That's Italian, I'm assuming. Yes, excellent. The podcast is more than a pissing. Well. Who's starting all that, Danny? Appears that I'm trying to be professional here, and you're picking on me all the time. But I understand why. So we'll set up a time where, like I said, we'll go out there. I'll give you a big hug, and make you feel better. It seems like you need that. Everybody needs a good hug once in a while. Just gotta be careful when you're hugging who. What else is going on in the world? We talked about the submarine. I'm seeing a lot of stories now about this cobalt mining. So cobalt is one of the things that's all the lithium batteries and everything, and what we use the cell phones and electric cars and all that. And it's just like apparently these. I've seen this on Joe Rogan a few times. The mining situation, it's for young kids that are crawling all over each other, very dangerous. But here we are taking advantage of them, and we're now so we have our cell phones and electric cars. So I'm sure. I hope that becomes something we can do about that. Not just Italian. Okay. Not just Italian, but Calabrese. Oh, very good. I like that. Calabrese. Thank you, Danny, for coming to your senses finally and talking logically. I'm very happy with the podcast. How's the rebuild? Oh, it's actually very good. It's like a brand new car. Although the other day, I guess the transmission fluid was down about a quart, and it started slipping and banging, making noises when I step on the gas. I was like, oh God, here we go. Now I need new transmission. My mechanic's great guys. Everybody ever needs a mechanic. There's Stanford Shell up in Stamford, Connecticut, over by the water over there. God, it's awful. I can't remember. Great guy. Pete over there. And totally trustworthy. Like I've taken other places, like even with the oil change, right? Like sometimes you get your oil change, the guys, oh, you need a new belt or you need new filter or something like that. I mean, you don't really need new filter. He tells me, okay, Tom, if you really want to make this truck last, you really need to change all the fluids. There's a regular schedule for it. So I trust him implicitly. So when I took the car to him for the transmission, he's telling, I don't think it's a transmission. It's just like, because he could have, I would totally believe him. He could have just said, Tom, you need a new transmission. I would just say, okay, I need a new transmission. So he tells me the truth. So I trust him totally. So anybody that's in that area, great guy. Thank you for asking, Dan. That's very nice of you too. Tip of the boot for home gamers. Tip of the boot. Oh, tip of the boot. Yeah, Calvary, I got you. Okay. Yeah, Stanford is Bobby Valentine's territory. He used to have, I think he still got a bar restaurant. I think he moved it though. Stanford's a nice town. My youngest son lives in there. They've really fixed up a lot of building going on. I don't know where are all the people coming from. All the buildings are going up in the city, going up in Stanford, Port Chester, all around here. Man. Seen a lot of. I'm getting into watching Joe Rogan's. I've always liked him, but very informative, like new stuff too that you haven't really heard. I can't remember if it was on his show or not. I heard a video. Maybe you guys have heard this before. There's a guy that worked for the World Health Organization, claims that years ago, many years ago, but a few years ago, they got a group of world leaders together talking about how the population was going to increase too much and we'd be in trouble. So they came up with this plan that by 2030, they're going to get the population down to about 800 million people. Was it 3 billion or whatever it is? So very interesting. This guy talk. I've said this to a few people. They said, "Oh yeah, I've heard that too." But you got to get working at it. Got to get rid of a few more people. I got 7 years. Okay. Did Phil play roller hockey with the Jaws? Don't know who that is, but all right, everybody. I like doing this again, more interactive with you guys. Again, Danny, it seems like you've gotten in a better mood. So I'm glad to say I don't want to leave the show in the mood that you were in before. Right? Okay, it's your family. I know they love you. They love me as well. That's fine. We can share them. Okay, I won't take them away from you. So don't be upset. Okay. All right, Phil. Just answer to Phil's answer to the question. He coached the Jaws. Nice. Lorraine, you are welcome. Good to see you again. Everybody have a fantastic weekend. We'll be back on Monday. Mark Puttenvink and I. And again, please go to the Full Change podcast on all the podcast platforms. Please like, share, listen, comment, do all that stuff. Very proud of that situation. So, all right, everybody, have a great weekend.